Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm super excited to share with everyone what ended up being my belated birthday / Christmas gift. What you see in front of you are the Transformers Takara Unite Warriors Constructicons, and actually you'll see on the I've got both boxes up here. That's because this was a surprise. I didn't know. I had picked up the Combiner Wars set for my own curiosity last year after the Extra Life fundraiser, where I gave away a knocked off, slightly reduced in size G2 version of this set. I did a video previously announcing that and showing everyone how that worked. I did a bunch of Devastators last year, so this year I wanted to check out what the actual Combiner Wars set was. But Hannah, who loves me very much, spoiled me and decided to get me the Unite Warriors set. So here in front of us we have Takara's Hook, and I got to make sure I do these names right. Long Haul. We've got Scavenger over here. We've got Bonecrusher over here. We've got Scrapper in the back, and we've got Mixmaster. And they look pretty sweet. I mean, these guys are big. They are way bigger. Like, playing with a KO set, I even thought those toys were pretty big. But with the KO toys, I thought the plastic was a little thin, and I was a little curious about getting the real ones in hand. But these guys, like, in hand, I mean, this is just a chunky crane guy right here. For comparison, my current Devastator is the TFC Hercules. So here is Scrapper from TFC's Hercules, and I still like this Scrapper. You can see kind of the color difference in the green hues here. I know the Takara one is this more yellow-green. But yeah, like Scrapper to Scrapper here, like we've got a much bigger shovel here. We've got bigger wheels here. Like there's just a lot of size to these guys that I really appreciate. They feel like a very fun construction toy play set in hand, which I like. One thing that I will comment on is the weight. These guys just, I think, due to the limitations of the budget that Combiner Wars was working with, they do feel a little light, and they feel a little fiddly, and we'll get into that as we go through the modes. Everyone here can roll pretty well. So first off, here is Hook. You can see he rolls. What you might not see without me pointing it out to the camera is that there's a slight, like, just, it's like 5 millimeters. It's a tiny amount of clearance here between what his robot feet are and the wheels. And I wish things tucked away and locked in a little tighter, because this is one of the just, like, he's just got a little bit of flex in the plastic, which is a little unfortunate. Things aren't lining up perfectly. Yeah, there you saw the wheel kind of came down, which is just a little unfortunate to deal with. In terms of articulation, he rolls, his crane goes up and down. It doesn't extend, which is another thing that's unfortunate. I get the budget constraints they're dealing with, and then it doesn't spin, which again, a little unfortunate. We'll put Hook aside and grab Scavenger next. Scavenger rolls pretty nicely on casters. He also has just some really tight clearances here. This is a silver painted chess piece that I'd be a little worried about rolling and scratching up that paint. He's got 2 casters on each side. I wish he had 4. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't when I have him in hand, but he does roll all right. And then again, we've got a shovel that can scoop and grab things, and it does have a joint for rotation, which I dig. So you can bring it up and back on this joint, side to side here, and then up and back here. The shovel is one molded piece, unfortunately. But I think people aren't getting this set for these alt modes. And then we've got Bonecrusher right here. He again has essentially the same undercarriage. He's got casters here. There's no real paint to scratch underneath. He's got a big shovel that's double jointed, which is nice to play with. I dig that. And again, for him, these two feel on the more solid end. And I really like that they did like green treads here with purple paint. I wish both of them did black treads with purple paint on the inside of the treads. But there's still enough nice details picked out in silver and black and red around. to make you feel like, yeah, this is, you know, a nice set to own. All right, so that's the 3 smaller bots, and then we get to the 3 bigger ones. Mixmaster's first here. He rolls just fine. Those wheels are awesome. Silver paint picking out the wheels here. Maybe that's what I would have preferred. If these geared sections were silver instead, that probably would have been looking pretty nice. I've got, unfortunately, a teeny tiny bit of a paint smudge on mine. That's unfortunate. But we've got a nicely painted front. I wish these headlights were painted. I like the silver here. They did paint the back end just in case you want to try and pretend he's like the 80s style cement mixer instead of the modern style. I like that this bucket piece is painted, so it's not all one solid purple piece. I dig that. Yeah, Mixmaster looks pretty good. And then Scrapper, the leader. For me, I loaded Scrapper up with all the weapons. That's one thing I do want to note with these guys is, compared to War for Cybertron figures like Siege, Earthrise, Kingdom, there is not a lot of weapon storage on these guys. Essentially, the Takara version comes with extra gun pieces. And all these extra guns, I don't believe, are included in the Combiner Wars version. And they didn't mold 5mm ports for everyone to hold them in their alt mode. Which is interesting and a little unfortunate. I guess really it's just War for Cybertron has spoiled us on weapon storage, because now like it feels weird to have to stuff them all onto Scrapper's back. But Scrapper, again, he looks really good. I love his shovel. He's got 2 points of articulation on it, here and here. I dig it. He's got big rolling silver painted wheels. Yeah, I don't think there's much to complain about here. I like his little dark metal gray vents. I dig that. And then the biggest boy of the bunch, we'll just put the gun pieces off to the side. Here is Mixmaster all loaded up. And yeah, I mean, he obviously gets the most paint because he's the biggest boy. Awesome silver wheels. Like, this one feels so satisfying to roll. This is, you know, a proper leader-ish figure. I really dig it. I love the silver headlights picked out. He just looks and feels. This one feels the way I feel like they all should feel. The rest just feel a little light, and then Mixmaster has that chunk that I'm expecting at this size. We can take off. He can store all the combiner pieces. We can take all of them out of here and show off. There we go. Get that out of there. He's got missile launching arms, which are neat. And then the wing pieces. And then here he is without all the extra bits. And again, just a really cool earth mover. I think one of the things I like is that the scale seems about right here. Like, maybe the cement mixer should be smaller, but the cockpit here for Bonecrusher and the cockpit for Scrapper, they seem about right. Yeah, I like that it feels like a cohesive unit of vehicles. Even if no one's really displaying their Constructicons in vehicle mode. That's something that I personally care about. I'm the one weirdo that cares about that. So I appreciate that Hasbro and Takara went and made that effort. In terms of scale, just real quick, I mean, this guy is supposed to be massive. Like, we see these ladders here and this teeny tiny door here. I remember in Combiner Wars, like Ultra Magnus and then Long Haul, both like were supposed to be gigantic vehicles. And Ultra Magnus, it didn't make sense because like you don't have a car carrier that's that big. But Long Haul makes sense. Like, you could have like Bagger 288, right, strip mining out there, and then when he needs to dump a load of, you know, ore somewhere, like, you'd need a vehicle this big for it. So that I kind of dig. All right. So that is all the vehicle modes. Let's get to transforming. We're going to start with Bonecrusher, I think, this time. So to transform him, first thing we're going to do is untab the treads from the back of his vehicle mode here. And that allows us to swing the treads down. And there is a hook that does not work very well on my copy, which is really unfortunate. But this hook, essentially, you like build your crotch piece like so. Ooh, actually that clicked in. But see, yeah, it clicked. You heard that click, but then it came loose almost immediately, which is really, really unfortunate. I get that like there's this tab that goes into this slot here, but it just doesn't seem very solid, which is really, really unfortunate. But we can extend the legs here and here, and everything I do with the legs wants to undo that crotch piece. That's how fragile it is. Not fragile, but not well connected it is. We come in and we open up his feet like so. And then we're going to come in up top, and we are going to open, there are two tabs back here that connect the back piece to his arms, and now we can come in and fold out his arms, fold down his shoulders. There we go. Get those out of the way. And then we can fold up his shovel piece, you want to call it, and I believe there's a connection we want to make. We'll keep transforming this way. Open up this piece, his little cockpit, and then flip out the head. And now we can accordion down his back piece, which allows it to connect in and plug in right there. We can close up these arm pieces like so, and then we bring in his little torso piece. And this always gives me trouble. So I want to get this there we go. Smash that joint down, and that gets you his chest shape. And again, that crotch is not going to play well with us, but we'll stick him right over here. For Scavenger, we have essentially the same transformation. We're untabbing from the back end, or actually no, untabbing from the front end this time. We come in, bring those legs down on either side, extend to create our knee joints, pull out our feet on either side, pulling in here. We can open up our chest piece, fold out our head, close up our chest piece, and now we have these shoulders that we bring out on either side. Open up that cockpit, bring out that shoulder. And then we want to take, there is a joint at his waist that we want to bring out, and then bring this joint up. There we go. And that lets us connect essentially his waist to his back piece. And then we can bring our legs down, and they click into place. We can bring our shoulder tabs in, and then flip out our hands. Same thing on this side. There we go. Set that to the side. All right, Hook is next. We are going to come in at the bottom, flip down his feet, flip, separate, and flip around on a double joint here, the back of his leg, which creates our little, essentially fake robot leg. And let me see if I can get that lined up the way we want it. There we go. Same thing on this side. Flip this out, flip the heel out, collapse it back down. We got our robot legs. Coming up top, we're gonna bring down on each side the arms, flip out hands. Same thing on this side, this hand. And I want to be careful just because I know he's got a very kind of fragile joint to deal with, which we'll talk about once we're done with our transformations. And then we can bring down his backpack one level, which is on a double accordion here. Yep. There we go. All right, that is Hook. And we can go ahead and start equipping our guys with some of their gear. So Scavenger here, he's going to get a gun, and he gets a missile launcher. Set him to the side. Hook here gets his gun and a big purple cannon. Set him to the side. Bonecrusher gets a gun and a missile launcher. Alright, and then we got 3 more bots. So next we'll do Mixmaster. Mixmaster, we're going to separate out the mixing barrel from the top of his cockpit. I keep calling them cockpits. I don't know, driver's seat. Then, with that separated, we can split and open his cab, unpeg his arms, and there become his mixing feats. And then we can come in here, split up each of his shoulder hinges, bring, nope. There we go. Open up and flip out his head, which I think is still pretty neat. And his barrel, I think, just kind of sits there, which to me is, it's a design decision, again, predicated by, I think, the size they wanted to make Devastator and what they needed Devastator to do and the price point they were dealing with. But here, Mixmaster is done, and he's going to get a gun. I actually don't remember which gun goes where at this point, but we'll give him a gun, and we'll give him this guy, this shieldy thing. Scrapper next. Scrapper folds out again at the legs. The arms are attached, so we can tab those out and away. Fold down his legs. Accordion out the back of his leg. We can flip out his foot and kind of build that leg up again, which is something that I think is pretty neat. There is a peg that goes into a port here that makes his foot a solid piece. I like that bit of transformation, and I believe I mentioned that before on like the KO toy. And same thing here where there's a tab. There are things that lock into place when you're flipping and folding things out that make what would be a pretty simple transformation a little more interesting. We flip out his hand. He does have, there we go, it's very tight, but he does have elbows. Flip out both hands. Flip back his shovel. Bring that shovel out, and there we go. There is Scrapper. Give him a gun, and give him... He can have his wing pieces. There we go. Just kind of fit them in. Fit things in. All right. Last one's long haul. He's going to get a big old cannon, and he's going to get this gun. So, for long haul, we've got these arms that we want to separate out. There are tabs on the side of his thighs that we want to make sure are out. We're going to take the back of his mover and open it up. Taking this section here, separating it out. Again, it's on tabs, and this whole appendage can rotate on a joint here to create his chest. We flip, while we're in here, we're going to separate his shoulder pieces, bringing the whole thing up, clicking it in place, folding that down, letting us get in there and free his head. Oh, it might be easier for me to do it this way. There we go. And then we can fold out, flip around his thighs. And then we have feet in here that we can flip on each side. There we go. And if we want, we can bring up these shoulders. They connect up there. And then we give him this comical hand cannon for his teeny tiny little arms. And this gun. And here, again, we have our Constructicons as a group in bot mode. And I think they look pretty good. I think there have been, I mean, this is clearly not the like intended display piece. Like you can see on the box, like Devastator is the show. But these are big and chunky. They're a little fiddlier than I'd like. Let me do a quick size comparison. Here is TFCC Scrapper, for example, next to Hasbro Scrapper. And at the time, this was the big combiner, right? It was either this guy or Make Toys, and this was the big version. And obviously, since then, Gravity Builder, a lot of other companies have come out with bigger bots than these guys. But I think there's just something very retro chic and satisfying about their proportions. They're all like a little awkward. They look like they came from the 80s for the most part. In terms of articulation, I know that there is a difference between the Takara toys and the Hasbro toys. So I think I'll try and do my best to remember where that difference is. In terms of leg articulation and stuff, so I think Bonecrusher and Scavenger have the same articulation between toy sets. You've got knees here. You've got ankle tilt, which is surprising on a Combiner Wars figure. You've got a ball joint and a double jointed elbow in the elbow. No wrist rotation or anything, but the ball joint lets you get some forearm rotation. And you've got a ball joint in the head, nothing in the waist due to transformation. And of course, again, Bonecrusher has that crotch problem. For Scavenger here, again, same leg articulation. You've got those hips also. The wrists, because of the way they flip out, you get a little additional wrist articulation. You've got those ball joints in the shoulders, per usual. And then, of course, you can get that scorpion hook thing if you want for him. Hook has a little more limited articulation due to like his flippy outy nature and the fact that his his shin, right, is just a little thin and kind of fiddly. So we can see there that like his hips aren't the sturdiest, which is unfortunate. They're very flexible, but they don't always hold up super nicely. Due to his transformation, there is no waist joint here. We do get a less than 90-degree knee bend. We do get ankle tilt, which is appreciated. So on the Takara version, we have this extra piece, which is an elbow joint. And it's not a great elbow joint. I mean, that, again, that doesn't look great. That really just looks like his elbow's been cut, but he at least has it versus the Hasbro version. I think like that's a straight arm thing there. And again, the shoulders, they can move in and out due to transformation, and there's a universal joint in there. And again, good ball jointed neck at the very least. Scrapper, the leader. Get some stuff out of the way. So here we've got a decent 90-degree knee bend. We've got ankle tilts. We've got the nice hips. That is one thing that everyone's hips, except for long hauls, are pretty much unobstructed, which is nice. We don't have waist articulation, which is unfortunate again. We do have, get that head out. There we go. When it's locked in place, we do have head wiggle, and we've got a butterfly joint, which I dig for Scrapper a lot. I like that joint in addition to the in and out on the shoulder. I like that. That makes me very happy. Mixmaster, he has surprising articulation. I think they did a great job designing this sculpt cut. So that he still gets the full 90. He, of course, has really nice ankle tilts. His hips, The right one is a little loose. The left one seems fine. And then we've got a universal joint in the shoulder. And he's another one where that elbow has been added after the fact. I'm pretty sure that it's this guy and Long Haul and Scavenger or Hook, I think, that have these added elbows. But I dig this elbow. He's got like a literal double jointed elbow. That does help in his posability and articulation. And that head can swivel and stuff, but it is pretty hard to get at it hidden behind the rest of his bits. Speaking of these head sculpts, I do like them a lot. They don't all feel like they're the same style. Like, I feel like these three guys, you know, Scavenger, Scrapper, and Hook feel like they're from the same toy line. And then Bonecrusher also. But then this feels like a very Predacon-y, like that's a very different type of head sculpt than the rest have, which is interesting, not a bad thing, but it's interesting to note. And then I think everyone is pretty cartoon accurate, except for I think Long Haul's is a pretty different cartoon head, or different head sculpt than his cartoon head. And for Long Haul, he is the biggest boy, but he's still decently articulated. Oh, that's such a good hip joint. I like that a lot. That's a really great ratchet. He does have a surprising 90-degree bend here. He does have ankle tilt. His shoulders can get stuck around his wheels, but his elbows, again, he can go in and out here. He can twist here. So he's got decent arm articulation if that's, you know, that individual bot articulation is something you care about. And then he's got wiggle in his head. So, you know, you can, oh, I like that. If you are doing a team pose where you want, you know, all 6 of them in action poses, you can absolutely do that with their different points of articulation. They're definitely not War for Cybertron articulated, but I think for Combiner Wars and for this big box set and the price that you pay, you know, I think originally Combiner Wars Devastator was $150 and Unite Warriors was $200. Now in like post retail, I think they're a lot more expensive than that. I was able to get this set for $50, and I think at $50, this is an awesome play set. I think it's just a really, really awesome play set. Okay. Now it's time for Devastator. First, we're going to stop here and we're going to get them all back into their vehicle modes, and then we will do the big Devastator combination. All right. So everyone's back in vehicle mode, and let's start from the legs and work our way up. We'll get the upper pieces out of the way. Scrapper, he can start us off. We're going to bring things up with his shovel. That's like obviously that iconic part of Devastator's right foot. We come in and we're going to bring down his... There we go. Bring down his heel pieces. His arms, those become Devastator's heel pieces, like so. And then we're going to come in up top, and we are going to bring in... Yeah, he gets that nice little like elbow click, which I really, really dig. And then we're going to come in up top, and we're going to bring up the back pieces of his leg and the front pieces of his shins. And this is all going to connect into Long Haul, but we'll get to that part in a little bit. Leave it as is for now. Mixmaster, his foot extends. He forms a really, really solid foot. I think just more solid in general than flip these around. Then Scrapper. Same thing here. We're gonna open up his lower body pieces, his legs. Fold that out. We're gonna open things up, and the front piece of his cab, we open up his heels, and we get to release that piece on both sides, and that will form, close things back up, that will form a similar connection that we'll see once we get long haul ready to go. With those legs to the side, we can come in with long haul now. Long haul, he's essentially there. So these arm pieces, they will come in and they will connect in a little bit. We're just going to take them and fold them up and out of the way. We are going to disconnect, again, this loading piece. Bring it up, forming that long haul chest piece one more time. Oh. Bring these up. And then we are going to come in on his legs now, folding down on each side to give those upper thigh Devastator pieces. And you can see this like it's already that kind of familiar Devastator hip shape. And then on the back end, we are going to unfold these pieces, and these are what will allow us to connect to these leg pieces. So there is a slot here, and there is a tab here, and we are going to fit them together like so. And what that does is lets us take these two tabs, three tabs, there's three tabs here, it all is going to connect together in what I think is a really, really impressive multi-locking combination piece. That part I think is really neat. I dig it a lot. And that's where that kind of side joint comes in. Now we can have Devastator with a stance askew like so. Same thing over here. Actually, we didn't need to fold that around. I was totally wrong. We've got a tab here and a slot here. We fit that in place. This piece comes in, and then we have these tabs up top that are going to connect into Scrapper and Devastator like so. And then I'm going to stop here and move our camera. Okay, a little bit of clarification. I was wondering why Scrapper, his leg position didn't feel right. I forgot that you flip out his hand the other way, and that like just adds a little bit of extra traction for his Devastator heel piece. All right, so now we're up on our torso, and we've got Hook we're gonna deal with next. And I'm gonna stand up, I might as well, I think, at this point. Okay, so we are going to get his arms out of the way, and then we're going to fold the two hook pieces, the two hook halves, I guess we'd call them, in on each other. And they have a tab, is that on, there we go, a tab and a slot that click together. We can bring that shoulder piece in, and with these pieces, we can open up a connector right here, and we have, let me make sure I've got everything. This piece. This piece flips down, so we have these two connections, which on Devastator will port into here and here. So we can come in up top. I'm gonna sit back down now. Keep maybe these out of the way. There we go. And we have there and there. And you're really looking for a big click here. There we go. Okay. So with that done, we can do these arms next. And the arms have a couple connection points, which is another thing that I really, really like about this Devastator. Here, we're gonna bring our camera up. So we're starting out with Bonecrusher. And again, we split out, pull out this black piece, which we haven't really used in any of the other modes. We're gonna flip around his shovel, and so these pieces on the sides are going to connect into his tabs on long haul here, and then this piece here has a connector piece on hook, so we can bring this in to the side, clip that in. Ah, there we go. I keep looking for like just a really sturdy connection. And then for this leg piece, we want to, I'm looking at Devastator here, and I have my waist. I guess this tire does need to be up, but I thought this would be clashing with Hook's arm. I guess we'll keep this arm straight. Bring that arm up, which, moving that armature out of the way, lets us sink that together. Bringing that arm down, we have our first missile pod, and guess what? This missile pod is a hand. I feel like we knew that. That's the wrong hand. Alright, this missile pod is also a hand. And we're going to take, again, that port here, put it into his forearm. Flipping around the forearm. And there we go. There is one Devastator arm done. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're going to come in, open up the Hook cockpit, flip out that connector piece. With that out, we can grab Scavenger here, taking out his treads from his centerpiece, which this centerpiece is going to become our second armature piece, like so. We can come in, and this connection always feels like I'm just jamming things in, and I don't know exactly why that is, but there is clearly, like, there's the port, and here's what needs to grab into it, and you're just kind of muscling it in. There we go. And again, same thing for long haul's little piece here, kind of just connecting things up and together. We can come in with our forearm, connect it there, and then we flip down our head. That locks Hook into place. And the last thing is this shield, which obviously, like, we have, like, you know, just we're looking at Devastator guts right now. So we build up our shield, we take our centerpiece, we have our wings on each side. These are going to, again, connect to Hook and connect to the arm pieces, help everything just lock in place really, really nicely. There we go. We have, looking at the back, we've got these pegs on the sides, and these ports here are going to go here and here. We got to kind of straighten out, there we go, straighten out that arm. And then this peg here, I don't think this connects in the center, but we have these connections on the side that'll just kind of lock everything up. Get in there. Same thing, there's a peg over on this side. There we go. Just trying to get that there. That's the lock that I'm looking for. Last thing is just give him his big old Devastator gun, right? We connect things there, fits into his hand like so, and here is Devastator. And I mean, well, he's got a bit of an ab crunch. Maybe not that much of an ab crunch, but he looks pretty impressive. Let me grab my TFC Hercules real quick. We're gonna back up. Here is Devastator, and he is big to see just how big. Here he is next to TFC Hercules. I mean, it's like, you know, don't talk to me and my son ever again. Like, Devastator is a big, big boy, and I really, really dig it. I was really on the fence. So, I mean, while I've got Hercules out here, there are a lot of things I like about Hercules' design. I like his proportions. I like that, like, the treads integrate. Like, it's not a purely G1 Devastator. There's a lot of design decisions here that make him visually interesting to me. I like TFC Devastator. I don't know that I'm going to give him up. So if you guys thought this was going to be a giveaway video, we'll talk about what I'm giving away in a second. Don't worry about that. But Devastator, I mean, he is just big and bruising, and, like, you know, his head moves around. His arms, I feel like the arms could be a little bulkier. Maybe that's something that TFC Hercules spoiled me on. But he's got these big shoulders that move around. There's a nice ratchet in there. He's got, you know, an elbow. He can twist. His hand can articulate. He's got a collapsing leg for my version. He's got, you know, he's got good leg and knee articulation. I think, like, he's a really cool toy, and he's just, I mean, this was the Titan in what, 2015? This was the Titan we got because this was the Combiner Wars Titan, and he was a really nice capstone piece on Combiner Wars, and Takara took that toy and they made it even better. In Unite Warriors. I really like the colors they used. I like the extra bits of articulation we got. I don't know what to do with these pieces like that. I don't know what's going on there. I can probably peg them in somewhere. I might just hold them in storage because, I mean, I'm displaying him as this guy. He's a really cool birthday present. I'm really happy I have him in hand. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. I think he feels like Devastator in a way that I think a smaller toy wouldn't necessarily feel that way. I really dig him. I think he's a mean green dude. But of course now we're talking, and I've got multiple Devastators. I have this one in the box, I have TFC Hercules, and I don't collect multiples of toys. So you might be asking, well, Cameron, you do a bunch of giveaways. So what are you going to be doing with Devastator here? And I don't know yet, 100%. But if I have 3 Devastators, that means I need to get rid of 2 of them. So here's what I'm going to say. I will be giving away 2 Devastators in my Extra Life campaign this year. I think these are hopefully going to be great incentives to get people to donate. If you don't know Extra Life, there's a link in the video description. But it's basically a charity fundraiser for your local children's hospital, and my local children's hospital is the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. And Cincy Children's does excellent work, and I want to support them as much as I can. Last year, I was able to raise almost or about $7,000 for them. This year, I'm hoping to keep up that momentum. And I think if these guys, if I can raffle them off, then I'll probably be doing that with Devastators. This guy, I mean, this was my birthday present. I don't think Hannah would be too happy with me giving him away. But this Combiner Wars one, I can definitely do that for, and then we'll see what I do with the rest of the giveaways. All those details will be coming out in the summer of 2021, so stay tuned. Thanks everyone for the support. We're almost at 700 subscribers, which is crazy. Hopefully we can keep growing, and hopefully this year's Extra Life can be even bigger than last year. All right, that's it. Long video, I know. Thanks for sticking it out, and I'll catch you everyone later. See ya.